Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 21 of Raising My Vibration in 2018. So this is interesting. When I was starting to get the information of what I was going to do for today, I had several things. Of course, I've been getting tons and tons of feedback from everybody, and I absolutely love that. Thank you so much. And everybody's giving me all of these great ideas for videos to do, and that's awesome. And then I had a little bit of time to reflect about this whole process for myself. 21 days of finding ways to raise our vibration and work on ourselves is an absolute journey for me too. Remember, when I say we're doing this together, I honestly mean that we are doing this together. And it's interesting because when I first had the vision of doing this for January, for the month of January, and it was because I was so excited about 2018 and the possibilities of 2018. And I just really had this huge excitement about what was to come and how amazing things were going to be. And I wanted to make sure that I kept that momentum going and that energy ball going. And so I thought, what a better way to do it than coming up with a whole month of videos every day of ways that we can raise our vibration and things that we can do to keep us up in that energy. And so interestingly enough, what has kind of happened is more and more my attention has been brought to the lower vibration. So kind of like really going in the opposite direction, right? You guys hear me talk lots about, let's focus on what we want, make sure our focus is clear, don't focus on our problems. But I know that part of what we need to do in order to get to the vibrational level that we want to be at is to release some of these lower vibrations that we have been carrying on to for so long. And so this morning, as I was preparing for what I was going to do today, my guides kept saying to me, no space humans, no space humans. And so I sounds kind of Wi-Fi, it's just there, yeah, like, Star Trek-ish. But what they were saying to me was that vibrationally, when we are working on ourselves, in order to raise our vibration, we need to create that space so that we can allow the higher vibrations to come into our experience. And so it's interesting. So when I receive information, because I'm, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, when my guides work with me and they give me information, it's kind of like I receive it all in one big download. Like I know it's, some people will ask me, how do you do what you do? And it's hard to explain sometimes, because when I receive it personally, I receive it like a big block of a story. Like it just explodes all at once to me, all at the same time. And so they gave me this like kind of big grand vision of, first of all, having the awareness of who these no space humans are. And so you guys have all met the no space humans. So a no space human is somebody who is completely full, like maximum capacity. They are me, myself, and I. When you have a conversation with them, it's really a one-sided conversation. If they are, if they even ask you something as simple as, how are you? They're really not waiting for the answer of it because they want to get back to talking about themselves. These no space humans are also full to maximum capacity with the lower, denser vibrations. So, hurt and anger and resentment and insecurity and fear, all of these kind of make up their vibration. And what happens is that they get they're so full of everything, and I hope everybody doesn't mind me swearing, but I'm gonna use the bullshit I call bullshit, because they get so full to maximum capacity that there's such a disconnect between their soul and their pain body and their ego that they don't even recognize it. And it's interesting the way this was presented to me. So I'm always being an empathic and an intuitive since the time I was a child. And of course, when I was a child, I had no idea what it meant or or what it was called. I just knew that I always had this ability that when I would meet somebody, that I would get an instant kind of reading of their energy and could feel, whether they were full or they were empty. And this is interesting because I never thought about this like this before until my guides have been giving me this information. So a weird thing that I used to do when I was a child, and I still do it as an adult, is when we would drive through cities or drive through neighborhoods, and especially at nighttime, it seems there's more awareness to it. But so if you were driving through a city or a town at nighttime, I would, as a child, look at the houses we were driving by. And when I would look at the houses, I would I would get an instant, almost like an instant projection that I would be in the space. And then secondly, I would get an instant feeling of how the space felt. And so I could feel whether there was like happiness in the house, or whether, there was loneliness in the house. And I also got this like spatial feeling of it as well, as to whether the house felt full or the house felt empty. Strange superpower to have, right? And I do it to this day, and I didn't realize that I do this with people as well. So when I meet somebody and I'm talking to somebody, I can get, a feeling, a sense of vibrationally, whether they are full or they're empty, or there's any space. And trust me, there's, remember, I'm, a soul having a human experience. So I do fall into the category of being a no space human sometimes as well. But what happens is I can catch myself much quicker than most people can. Because, I've been a healing practitioner for over 10 years, and I have people that approach me all the time when I'm out in public. And of course, people, when they approach me with their problems. I've got this going on, Jody. Do you know how you could help me with this? Or what should I do with that? And I always get a huge sense of, when people come to me for help, of whether they are full or they are empty. And if they are full, then they're not in a place to receive anything. And it's almost like there's I have a natural intuition that tells me, this is a human that's not going to receive any help from you. So you can pull back your energy, because they need to go and do some purging and some emptying. On the other hand, if there's a human being that has that space and I can feel that space, then energetically, I know that there's stuff that I can do to help that person. And so part of what we're doing with this raising our vibration is getting to know our true selves, right? Like really getting in, digging in deep, like I said, we're, peeling away the layers and finding out who we are. And that means, some of the ugly stuff that we don't like, or that we don't want to become aware of. And this is a big one. I want us to really, really become aware of whether we are a no space human or not, or whether we've gone into no space human mode. And so how it will feel to you is you will just feel full, like you will feel energetically full, like you have no place to receive. And this is so interesting, because just in the last little while, I've met a few humans that are struggling with like loneliness and loss and grief. And of course, as a medium, that's, I get a lot of clients that are in that vibration, because of course, when you lose somebody, that's part of the healing process. But again, humans will attach themselves to these emotions or to this experience and spend far too much time there. And when somebody is feeling, so example, if we take the loneliness vibration, when somebody is feeling extremely lonely, and, they've got this story in their mind that they need, a friend, or they need a spouse or a partner, or they need something. They're looking for something to get rid of the loneliness. And the frustration will happen, and the despair will kick in when nothing comes into their space, because they are at maximum capacity, and they're not even realizing this. They're not even realizing that they have become a no space human. So they've created no space and no allowing for any of the good higher vibrations to come into their experience. And I've seen this happen to, people on every level of consciousness, on every level of their path, on their journey, of their spiritual journey. I have had conversations with teachers, people that are out there teaching, and people that are out there, writing books and doing that kind of thing. And I've had conversations with them when I would sit there and I would totally, and you guys have been there before, I'm sure that you've had this experience where you're having a conversation with somebody and they are talking to you or teaching to you or preaching to you or trying to enlighten you. And you really kind of are getting a sense of, this would be a good lesson for you. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been listening or talking to another human being and maybe just the roles that you were in at that time where that they were the teacher and you were the student, but there was something inside of you that intuitively was like, I think this pertains to you and not to me. This is, I feel like this is your work that you need to do and not my work. And this comes with, again, we can get so caught up in the ego and the pain body, and especially in the industry that I'm in, I meet a lot of people who, have put themselves up on pedestals because, all of a sudden they are these enlightened beings. And the truth is, as long as you're a human being and you're, I know you're a soul, but as long as you're in the human experience, you always will have work to do. And the second that you think that you don't have any work to do, that's when you need to start from scratch. That's when you absolutely need to go back to the beginning and start all over again. Because you've reached a sense of falsehood that, that you're not even aware of. And so I really want, we talk about, so if we realize, first of all, that we've become one of those no space human beings, what are some things that we can do to create the space? And so you guys know this. I talk about meditation all the time, and meditation is for some people, when I say the word meditation, it's like I'm speaking Chinese to them. It sounds like it's this incredibly hard, difficult thing to do that they can never, ever do. But meditation can be your own personal experience. And so you can adapt it to whatever feels comfortable for you. You can, start off soft and slow and gentle if that's what you need. But ultimately, our goal through meditation is that we learn what it feels like to be able to have that space. We learn spatially what it feels like to have that space and create that space. And not only that, but hold that space. And so we want to be able to hold that space when we are having a conversation with another human being. We want to hold that space when we are teaching, when we are trying to share our insights with people. And this is a big awareness that I've had through doing this. I wanted to make sure that when I do these videos for everybody, that it's, again, and I say this, and I mean it with all sincerity, that it's Jody Jones steps out of the way, and I am bringing through, I'm bringing through information, but I'm bringing it through clearly through a clear channel. So when I am giving this information to you guys, how it kind of processes through me is I have to get into a place where I have allowed some space to happen. And then the information that's coming out of me is kind of free flowing through that space. And when this happens, then I know that I have no thinking involved in it. So those means that, the Jody Jones ego pain body is not involved in it. I'm not talking to you specifically about personal experiences. I am not bringing in my own personal emotions into this. I'm not, it's coming through very freely and very clearly. And as teachers, this is what we need to do. We need to, we're almost channeling a higher vibration, so that it can be clearly received for everybody well. And part of this, when we're doing this, and I talked about in the beginning, is we want to become aware of our bullshit meter. And I mention this every once in a while because, again, we have to be on top of that. We need to be the ones that are calling ourselves when we are, bullshitting ourselves. And this happens when we need to become aware of, what's coming out of our mouths and our actions are, where are they coming from? What source are they coming from? Are they coming from the source of any of our lower vibrations that we are working on? Are they coming from fear or from jealousy or from anger or bitter or resentment, all the stuff that we've been working on? Or are they coming from source energy, which is, pure love and pure light. Is that, so we need to be clear on where that is coming from. And we do this, again, through getting to know ourselves very well, getting to know how we feel. And again, so because I'm empathic, and I'm sure lots of you guys are, lots of people are empaths and, maybe just don't talk about it. But you feel vibrationally, right? Like, if you're ever having a conversation with somebody, and when it's your turn to be listening, if you kind of just tune into your own frequency, your own vibration, and it feels either tight or tense or, hard or anxious or then that you have slipped into the mode of ego or pain body, right? Like that's their makeup. That's what it feels like. Whereas if you are having a conversation with somebody and you are feeling light and excited and, inspired, and your heart chakra starts to light up, or, a big, huge thing that Spirit does to me when I'm doing readings for clients, is they will give me goosebumps, like huge goosebumps all over. And I always know that when I am in that vibration, that I'm in the right state. So that means that when I'm in that vibration, anything that's coming out of my mouth, or any thoughts that I'm having is on the right path. It's the stuff that I want. And I only will be able to know the difference between having the good ones or having the bad ones through creating that space, right? So being a human that has space. So getting out of the no space human mode. And so I personally do this through meditation. Like meditation is probably one of the easiest ways to do this. For those of you who are not at the place where you're doing that kind of meditation yet, the practice of mindfulness is huge. Like mindfulness is so simple. Mindfulness is the simple rule of saying to yourself, I am only doing what I am doing right now. Nothing else matters. Nothing else exists. All that is happening right now. And then bringing 100% of your energy and your focus into the present moment. So whatever it happens to be that you're doing. Great practice, because what happens spatially is when we bring all of our focus and all of our energy into the present moment, space starts to happen. Space starts to build. And we get this magical, wonderful space. And it's in this space that everything becomes super clear to us. It's in this space that we will be open and ready to receive love, excitement, joy, bliss, gratitude. It's in this space that all of those vibrations need to come into. And so I guess it's 2 steps, right? So in part of raising our vibration and becoming these more conscious beings that we're working on, we need to recognize all of the garbage. We need to recognize how bad all of the low vibrations feel. And we need to be honest with ourselves about that. And then we also need to work on releasing it and getting it out. Again, something Spirit teaches me over and over again, as there's no such thing as space or time. So if I have a bunch of lower vibrations in me that I've been carrying around for 30 years, I can work on it instantly and release it. That's just because there's no such thing as space or time. I don't need to work on it for 10 years or 20 years or 6 months or whatever it happens to be. I may have to go back and revisit it and, work on clearing it over and over a few times, depending on how quick I am at picking up on it. But in order for me to truly make the changes that I need to do, I need to constantly work on getting rid of those, the lower vibrations out of my frequency. And so we do this through, again, so becoming aware of who we are, becoming aware of, are we a no space human being? Are we bullshitting ourselves? Is there, are we unaware of our whole story that we're telling ourselves? And shining the light on everything, right? We cannot, in order to get rid of something that's, dark or dense in us, we need to shine the light on it, bring our awareness to it so that we can release it. And so every video that we have been doing has been giving us little steps to that, right? Calling us on our bullshit, making us become aware of when we have stepped into unconscious mode. And now, having the awareness of whether we are a no space human being or not is going to be huge. So I really want you guys, so I'm also gonna post an exercise for meditation on here, just so I want you guys to really find ways to incorporate into your routine some type of meditation that's going to allow you to build that space, create that space, whether it's through mindfulness or meditation. But I want you guys just really over the next couple of days, bring your awareness to whether you feel like you have reached maximum capacity energetically. So when you are listening to somebody that's trying to help you, or you're, watching a video that's helpful, reading something that's inspirational, whether you are actually receiving it and feeling it, or whether it's kind of just hitting you and bouncing off. Because if it's hitting you and bouncing off, you have just found out that you are a no space human. And nobody wants to be a no space human. So make sure, guys, in the next couple of days, have that awareness. Have that awareness when somebody's having a conversation with you. Are you actually receiving the messages that they are giving you? Are you able to intuitively pick up and try this out? This is a great exercise for everybody, with your intuition. When you are having a conversation with somebody, I want you to see if you can feel whether they are a no space human or not. See what that kind of frequency feels like to you, and then you will be able to recognize it when you are in that mode as well. Okay, lots for us to do, right? Okay, I want everybody just to join me right now. I want everybody just to close your eyes. Using our breath, obviously, is an awesome way to tune into our own energy and see how we're feeling. Do a little check-in. So we're breathing in slowly, deeply through our nose 3 times, and then out through our mouth. When we are releasing through our mouth, today's focus is going to be just on clearing space. So energetically, when we breathe in, we are breathing in all of the light and the love, and it is going to push out any of the lower vibrations. Okay, so 3 slow, deep breaths. And just stay in this space with me for a moment as I call in my guides and my angels. And we are just tuning into the energy of the group. And so our focus for everybody today, and we are helping you to create space in your being. We are helping you to release and let go of everything that no longer serves you, to create space and allowing for those higher vibrations that we are working on receiving. Awesome. So this is going to be a work in progress, guys. Awareness is the key. Absolutely, awareness is the key. You guys have the most amazing day ever, and I will talk to you tomorrow.